Hey guys, today we're going to address a common question that we receive quite often, and that is, how can we take so many Disney cruises? How can we make them more affordable? And is there any way to do a cheap Disney cruise? So, we'll talk about some ways that we can help you in making your cruise with Disney a little bit more affordable and cost effective. So number one, I think, and the biggest one, is to try to book early if you can.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely as early as possible. So when the bookings come out, that's your opportunity. And I believe depending upon Castaway Club membership, that matters as well. So
it does.
Do you have those?
I don't have those numbers, but I can put a little graphic below. But you'll find out usually like a year and a half to 2 years in advance of when new cruises come out, and they'll release them, every 60 or so days. So take advantage of booking those early for the best prices. And on the flip side of that, if you have some flexibility, you can also look for last minute deals. We've done a couple of those, and Corey can speak more to those because he's booked them. So starting after COVID, we started looking at more last minute deals, and we were able to find some really good affordable ones.
Yeah, if you're available to actually book a cruise within like 1 or 2 months of the sailing itself, you may not be able to get every excursion you want, or if it's going to Castaway, you're probably not going to get a cabana, but there is a possibility that cruise will be cheaper than some of the other cruises, because if the ship's not full, typically they'll lower the price of the cruise to try and fill the ship before the sail date. So we've gotten a lot of really good last minute deals with Disney that usually sail within, I mean, we've done it within what, like a month?
Yep.
So so it just depends on how flexible you are with your dates, the months in which you're sailing, and of course the availability of the rooms.
Yeah, so those are our tips. Tips number 1 and 1.5.
1 and 1.5.
Number 2, and this is not going to make your cruise more, well, it's not going to make it cheaper, but it is going to give you some wiggle room with price once you're on board, and that is booking with a travel agent. Normally they will help you with the whole process, which takes some stress off of you as well, but you're also going to get an onboard credit. So Corey can speak to what onboard credits are and how much you'll typically get when booking with a travel agent.
So the onboard credit that you get really depends upon how much you pay for your cruise. So if it's like a couple $1,000s, you might get a $100 onboard credit. So that means when you get on the ship, you will already have a $100 credit on your stateroom that you can utilize for whatever you want, whether it's gifts, whether it's drinks, basically anything that you said you want to use.
Specialty dining, like Palo or Remy.
Yep.
Enchantment.
I believe it's up to, well, at least, so we use Dreams Unlimited Travel. They're out of Florida. We'll post the link below. I believe their onboard credit is up to $1,000, but yeah, I'm imagining that's probably like a concierge room and you're spending 20 grand plus in order to get that onboard credit. But it's free money. Like you don't pay the travel agent anything more than if you were paying Disney direct for the cruise. So it's basically free money you're leaving on the table by not utilizing a travel agent. So
sure.
And likewise, if you want to book air travel through your travel agent, you can do that. Hotels before and after your cruise. If you're going to a Disney park, they'll book you park tickets. So it's a lot more than just the cruise itself. You just have to take advantage of what the travel agent will book for you, and depending upon what you do book is dependent upon what kind of onboard credit you will receive.
Yeah. Number 3 is kind of controversial to some people, and that's booking a GTY rate. So GTY means you'll pick your category of stateroom, whether that be inside, deluxe inside, ocean view, deluxe ocean view, veranda, so on and so forth. So you'll pick your category, but you don't get to pick your room. So these typically come with a smaller price tag. You just don't get to pick where your stateroom is, so it's a little bit of a gamble.
It is, yeah, and you could potentially get, like if you book a guaranteed veranda stateroom, you could have like an obstructed view or like a white wall instead of having the glass. So there are some disadvantages to booking GTY, but overall it does save you quite a bit of money. You can also use a travel agent and still book a GTY. That's a really good thing to note. So you still would get that onboard credit, and they'll book GTY for you, which is super convenient. The only downfall that I found to having a GTY room is well, basically, go ahead.
I don't know if we're thinking of the same one, but if you have already booked a placeholder cruise on a previous sailing, you cannot book a GTY cabin. You cannot use it towards a GTY rate.
Yep, so your placeholder, so if you're on a Disney cruise and you do the $250 placeholder credit, and then you have that, it's basically like a 10% off when you do book your next cruise, you can't use that towards a GTY rate. So unfortunately that wouldn't be usable in that kind of instance.
Yeah, but we've used GTY, I would say probably on 50% of our sailings that we've done.
Yep.
We've always had good luck.
Yep.
We actually, and please take this with a grain of salt because I think this was a fluke in the system, but we booked rooms for my parents and ourselves on a sailing last January, and we ended up getting a connecting room. So
yeah, they put our rooms next to each other, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So it is a possibility. I think with anything, you know, it's do you want to save the money or do you want the ability to pick your own room? So I think that's really important. And you know, for us, it's always like, hey, if we can save more money on a Disney cruise,
we can go on another one.
Exactly, we can go on another one. So
number 4 is get a Disney Rewards Visa if you qualify. I'll let Corey talk about that because he handles the finances in our home.
So yeah, I mean, so you can apply, actually, Disney Cruise Line, you can apply right through there and you could pay for the cruise with your Disney Chase Visa. It's a great way to earn points and money towards either whatever you want, basically Disney related. So what I do is we save up, and I guess it's not really points, it's basically dollars that you get that you basically load onto a card, and then you can use that card, like as soon as you get on the ship, you can load that as like onboard credit, or you can use that to buy gifts. So we basically use that money when it comes to, you know, cruising. It can be used in the parks, it can be used, you know, for park tickets. We just recently went to Disneyland. Our park tickets for 2 days were free. So for the 3 of us, we basically went to Disneyland for free, you know, minus the hotel costs and stuff like that. But the actual park tickets themselves were free. I was trying to think about what we had spent that money on because I knew we had so much saved. And I forgot. Oh, that's right. We went to Disneyland. We
went to the parks and didn't have to pay for our tickets. Now, I will say that we do use our Disney Rewards Visa every day. We don't use a credit or debit card. If you have the ability and you know that you have the responsibility to actually pay your card off on a monthly basis, this makes total sense because you get all those rewards. You don't have to pay the interest and then rack in the points.
And you do get, I believe it's double points when you book things like the Disney cruise.
Disney parks.
You get amped up points, so it's not, or you know, dollars or points, whatever you want to call them. You get more of them when you book Disney stuff, so it's kind of cool. And they also have, I don't know, because I don't really take advantage of this, but there is an interest, like a 0% interest for, I think it's 6 to 12 months. So if you put the cruise on your Disney Visa Chase, you won't have to pay interest on that purchase for up to 12 months, I believe. So read the fine details, ensure you understand what you're getting yourself into by getting a credit card, and be responsible.
And the last tip that always works for us is book your cruise in the shoulder season. If you guys watched our last video, we did a Royal Caribbean versus Disney Cruise Line, and while Royal is a lot cheaper, we definitely prefer Disney for so many reasons. We'll link that video below, but it's not cheap to go on a Disney cruise, and really there is no way to make it cheap. That's not a word synonymous with Disney. So, if you are comfortable and you have kids, taking them out of school, if they could do homework on board, if you can avoid breaks, school breaks, summer break, spring break especially is one of the big ones.
Yep.
You will save a lot of money by booking in the off season.
Also, like the maritime cruises are always going to be more expensive. Yes. The Halloween on the high seas are always going to be more expensive. Sometimes you'll save money on one-way cruises. So if they start in one port and end in a different port, we have another one booked in November that starts in San Juan and goes to Galveston. It's a 6-night, and we're paying right around $3,500 for a veranda room. So there's ways to save money that way as well. But overall, yeah, if you can avoid those peak times and cruise in those off season, you know, I think that's probably the best way to go, is to save the most amount of money. And you can look at the website too and have an understanding about, okay, this is how much, you know, the cruises during the summer are because all the kids are out of school, and versus, you know, this is a cruise in February where, you know, now you have to take your kids out of school, you know, so definitely look into that further.
And I think it's really beneficial to do that when you have younger children. I would say anywhere from K through 5th grade is the most ideal time. That has been for us. As Brody gets older, he is more reluctant to go out of school. He has some pretty hard classes and he doesn't like to miss. But if given the option to stay home and have grandma and grandpa stay with him, or miss school and go on the cruise, he always picks the cruise. So as long as you're comfortable taking your kids out and you have a good relationship with the teachers, booking in the shoulder seasons is one huge way to save a lot of money on your Disney cruise.
Yeah.
So I think that's all for our top 5 tips on how to make a Disney cruise more affordable. If you have any tips or tricks that we didn't mention, there's a ton.
Comment down below.
Tell us what you think. But yeah, let us know if you have any questions also. We are going on our 14th Disney cruise in November.
Yeah.
And so we just love Disney Cruise Line, and we're not travel agents. We just have done a lot of them, so we have a lot of info. Thank you guys so much for watching. And again, if you like what we're doing, give us a like, maybe a subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.